track.
G'day guys, welcome back to Have a Crack. Today I'm going to show you the gear I use, all the gear that I use to make these sorts of videos. It's coming up. Before we get into it, just a little bit of a disclaimer. Some of you probably know this isn't my only channel. This channel here is very new. I do have a photography channel that I've been running with for a few years now, and it's quite a large channel. And all of the gear, or almost all of the gear that I'm about to show you, have actually been sent to me for free from different companies for that channel. But I absolutely do rate the gear that I'm about to show you. Some of the gear that I get sent, I'm not a huge fan of it, and I won't even show you. But some of the gear that's here, well, in fact, all the gear that's here, is mint, and it works really well. So what I'm going to show you is some of the drones that I use, some of the cameras that I use, the things that you really don't need. But at the end, I'm going to show you this camera right here. This camera here is the best camera I've ever used for YouTube. Now, if you're any sort of content creator on any sort of platform, you're going to hear people say all the time, don't go investing in big cameras straight off the bat, and I would agree with that. Use your camera on your phone and it's going to work really, really well. In fact, most of the B-roll that I do for the other channel is with my phone, and I've got all the gear. But I just use this because it's easy and it works. So if you're trying to save some dollars and you've got a reasonably new phone, especially iPhones, the stability in the video on this particular model, on the Pros, from the iPhone 14 Pro and the 15 Pro, the stability on this, the action mode, is like having a video camera on a gimbal, and it works really, really well. So use that, and only when you outgrow what this can do should you invest in more gear. Even whilst you're still using your phone as your camera, the audio on the iPhone is reasonably good, but once you start getting to tricky situations where there's a little bit of wind, a little bit of bird noise, things like that, it tends to fall by the wayside. So the next thing that you should invest in, or the first thing that you should invest in, is audio. And the microphone that I'm using here is for this camera right here. But there are plenty of different microphones around that you can invest in that is going to work on a phone, and plug a different cable in, which most of them come with. And when you get yourself another camera, it'll work with that as well, generally speaking. In fact, I was sent one just yesterday for the other channel. And I've seen this reviewed a fair bit, and I'm going to review it on the other channel soon. And it's this one here. It's the Ulanzi, what is this, AM18. What this does is a wireless microphone. You plug the transmitter into the camera or into your phone. You can then have two little wireless mics like this one here. You can have one on you and one on your mate, and you can sit here having a conversation. The audio will come through as clear as it is for you right now. These are not expensive. Like, Ulanzi is a inexpensive brand, and the gear is pretty good. And if it does fail, their return and exchange rate is pretty good, and I've tested it, and it works pretty well. As your channel builds and you may start earning a little bit of money from that channel, and you think, well, I'm going to invest some more things into the channel to make it better, give me some more options, get one of these, little action camera. It doesn't have to be a GoPro, it doesn't have to be a DJI, it doesn't have to be a 360 camera, it can be anything. What we're looking for is different sort of footage. So with this here, this is an Asako. I've done a review on this on the photography channel. This thing is cheap as chips, but it will only shoot at 1080p. And on this channel here, I only shoot at 1080p anyway. I only upload in 1080p. There's no need for me to upload in 4K on this channel, certainly not yet. On the photography one, it's a different case because I need the detail of 4K for the photography. But these here, these are like $150 or something. They're cheap as. The stability on these aren't too bad. With the mounts that are here, most of them have the old GoPro mounts, so you can go get yourself something like this Tellison suction mount and mount this onto there and stick this to your windscreen and give point of view sort of footage straight at the windscreen, or put on the outside of your windscreen, turn it around and so there's no windscreen in front of you, and just shoot out the front of your car, shoot out the back of your car, put on the inside, shoot back at you. All those options. As soon as you move away from a phone and invest in things like this, your footage becomes a lot more interesting because you can change it all the time. You may find some of the capabilities of those sorts of action cameras a little bit restrictive, but the price jump between that and something like this here DJI Action is a few $100s. So it's a situation for everyone individually. I use both this one and the Asako one for different things. You may, and keep in mind that you may not use all the footage for this. You might put this on your car and record for half of an hour, and by the time you get to the editing, you go, I only want that 3-second clip, and just use it. So be mindful of that. The more options that you have, the more likely you are to use that footage. And just a point on these cameras, in fact on any cameras, you've got to be mindful of how you're going to mount these things. What I'm sitting on right now, this camera here is sitting on a tripod. Here's another tripod right here. There's a freewheel one. These things are pretty light. These are about 250 bucks, I think they are. This was, again, was something that was sent to me for the other channel. These are great tripods. All you need to do with any camera with all these tripods is go and get yourself a few of these little mounts. Little mounts like this. This is an Arca Swiss mount. Can you see that there? Maybe. You can see how that mounts onto this here. It's just a claw situation, male, female sort of bit. And mount up any camera. Even with your phones, get one of these and you can mount your phone onto a tripod as well. Whilst we're talking about phones, there is something else that you really should be getting for your phones to do this. So you can hold onto your phone and you're going to have a hand out there like this holding onto your phone all the time. And that's just like amateur hour 101. Get yourself one of these sorts of things. So this here is a Ulanzi ST28. This is a MagSafe phone mount. So this mount here will go onto a tripod and hold the phone for you. Because it's MagSafe, I can put my iPhone onto that there, and there it is. It's going to hold that. I'll put it on a tripod, it just sits there perfectly, and I'll stand in front of it and talk to you like I'm talking to you right now. If you don't have a MagSafe phone, just get a clamp like this. This is just a regular phone mount. Your phone will sit into here. You screw this down, it tightens up your phone. It's got little slots there to put onto your tripod. So get yourself a phone holder. When it comes to these things, it is very, very tempting to go and get yourself some cheap-ass plastic phone mounts. It's like a $2,000 phone. You want to protect it with something that's going to hold it. Don't go and spend like $3 on something like this. They do exist and they're shit. Get yourself some metal ones, good MagSafe ones, and it will serve your phone well. Next is the two drones that I use. So the DJI stuff that I've shown you, like the action camera there, I bought myself. I've paid for that myself. This drone here I've paid for myself as well. This is a Mavic Air 2. This is a little bit older, this one, but this still shoots incredibly good footage. It's not that big, it folds up so it fits in the car nice and small, and it does really good footage. I would encourage you, if you're doing any sort of action adventure sort of channel, get yourself a drone. The drones that exist now are just bloody clever. They're just so damn clever. And what it helps to do is, like for example, right here, I am on the Murray River, Victorian side, New South Wales side over there. Looking at this footage alone, you wouldn't know that. But if I throw some drone footage in there, all of a sudden you know where I am and you can paint a picture of where you are. Whilst we're talking about drones, this one here is something that I was sent, and it's really clever. It's basically a robot. This is the Hover Air 1, I think it's called. It doesn't have a controller. It plugs into an app that's on your phone. Plugs in, that's not the right word. It just Bluetooths to an app that's on your phone. You can control it with the phone, but you just basically pre-program what you want it to do, hold it out, launch it, and it will do what you've asked it to do. It only records in 1080p, but it's very, very good for people like myself who is a one-man band, if you like. So when I go out, I'm usually on my own. I'm definitely doing all the video on my own, so you'll rarely see me being followed by a cameraman, unless it's something like this or something like this. Now, I've done thorough reviews on this on the other channel. I'll link it up there somewhere. It is actually really good. Today, for the very first time ever, I managed to crash the damn thing. And the way this is built, I could drop it and it's tonka tough. In fact, it ran into the roof rack on the car and it fell down to the ground, and it's working fine. As far as cameras go, there's two left to show you. One is this one here, and this, I'm just going to say this is a generic sort of a camera. This one here is a Sony A6400, I think it is, 6400. Pretty sure it is. It's all behind a cage at the moment. Any camera that's going to shoot reasonably good video is going to do you well. I used to use this every video, and now I use just this one. But if you do get cameras like this one, I strongly encourage you, when you get your, and this goes for every camera, get a very high data flow SD card so it can record high resolution, high detail, nice fast frame rate straight onto the card. So you want a really fast processing card. Do not skimp on the quality of the SD card that you purchase. They are expensive for the really good ones, and I encourage you to get really good ones. And spare batteries. Spare batteries is key. Two more things really quickly before I show you this camera here. If you do much at night time, get yourself a light. These little LED panel lights, they're like percentage incremental. They're very good. This one here is a small rig one. Again, I'll send this stuff. They're all basically the same. There's a bunch of LEDs behind this here. Get the ones with the silicone cover on it. It helps to diffuse the light so it's not really harsh light. On the photography channel, I would say that I would film about 70-75% of the videos that I film there are in the dark at night with this camera and this light here hanging off it. This arm that's down here, this is something that you would buy separately. That little thread there, you just thread that into the tripod and it will sit on the side of the tripod and light you up while you're recording. Works really, really well. All right, let's have a look at this camera that I'm using here right now. It's sitting on top of a tripod. This is a regular photography tripod. I think it's Pro Photo Video. Again, I was sent this one. It's a bloody good tripod. This is the little screws that I was talking about before, where you would screw in your light into that camera. But this is the camera. This is a DJI Pocket 3. The best thing about this camera here is it's got face detection. You turn it on and this camera is going to follow me around. And believe me when I say this makes a difference. It makes a huge difference to engagement. It makes a huge difference to watch time on the videos. Rather than me just standing here like this talking, the more I can move around, and you can see now the river coming in the back of the image there, you're looking at something else. You're not looking just at me. I might come around this way and you go, oh, what's all that behind him there? And you're going to look even more. So things like this, if you've got a second person there to shoot you, that's perfect, and you don't need anything else because someone can do what this thing is doing for you. But if you don't have someone else there, this camera and the way that it tracks like this is friggin' amazing. It's been a game changer for me on all of my channels, and it does almost everything that I want it to do. Keep in mind, I said on the other channel I shoot a lot of my footage there is in the dark. It's at night time, and this thing has a night mode or low light mode, and it does it really, really well. I would absolutely encourage you that if you are graduating from your phone, you go, I want to up the game a little bit, especially if you are on your own. If you're not, it doesn't matter. A person can just run with this one as well. It's a gimbal, for crying out loud. It's incredibly good. I can't recommend this camera here enough. I got the creator package, which gives you this microphone which synchronizes directly to this camera right here. It's a gimbal. It's so easy to use. It's the easiest camera I've got to use, and when you're doing this sort of a job, and this is what I do full time now, if you're doing YouTube creation at all, the last thing that you want to be dealing with is a pain in the ass bit of technology that you cannot work out. This thing just does it all for you. You can do it all manually, but it's just so good to be able to just get to a job or a location like this, throw this camera on a tripod, hit green or hit the record button, and start creating content. It's just sensational. So besides all of the cameras, all of the drones, all those sorts of things, the other things that you're going to need to do this sort of a job or to create a channel, or the equipment that you're going to need to run that channel, is one, spare batteries for everything that you have. If it's only a phone that you're using, bring a power bank with you, because you'll be surprised how quickly you go through power when you're shooting video. Two is bring SD cards for all the cameras that you have, spare SD cards. Again, you will, especially the footage that you're going to like hang off the car as you're driving through the bush or down tracks and stuff, you'll forget that it's even turned on. You're going to use, like I said, you might record half an hour and you might use 3 or 4 seconds of it, and that's it. So you're going to go through memory pretty quickly on those cards, so get more cards. If it is just a phone, have something to transfer data to, whether it's an iPad or a laptop or something like that, or on the new iPhones you can go directly to an external hard drive. Do that. Invest in the things that are going to keep you out in the field longer, to record more And once you get back in front of your computer and you start editing all this stuff down, you're going to have more options for different footage and different audio than what you would have if you didn't have those backups in place. Hopefully that's helped you out, guys. It might give you a little bit of insight to what I do behind the scenes, because I use the same gear on all the channels that I have. So the guys that are here watching from those other channels, now you know. All right, guys, that's it for today. Catch you next week.